As a fluent speaker of Korean who is a non-Korean and learned Korean as a third language, lived in Korea for 5 years, and am currently married to my husband who is Korean, I would like to say that Ali's controversy is probably due more to lack of understanding in Korean culture and the Korean language, coupled with bad subtitles and dubs. A classical case of lost in translation. First, Korean culture being hierarchical, not only in society but in structure of the language itself. It is customary for people to refer to others by status rather than by name, unless they are close. Even then, the people with the higher status is allowed to refer to the person with the lower status by name, and the person of lower status is usually still forced to not only call the person by their status, but use polite language. So polite language meaning parts of speech that right away let us know who is of higher status by their position or age. Ali, being a non-Korean who was forced to work in a factory without getting paid, has been taught by his boss to call him not sir, as the sub/dub might have been translated to, but he literally calls him the title you would use for a boss of a company. The show's commentary on this is that Ali has never had a relationship with other Koreans outside of his work environment. His boss and his small interactions with Koreans has led him to believe that the only way to refer to other men who looks older than him is by calling him boss and using the most formal of Korean language that when speaking to them. When he meets Sangwoo and Ji-hoon on countless occasions, they tell him to stop calling them boss. They finally show him acceptance as a teammate and friend, and instead tell him to use the word hyung, which means older brother instead. This is showing that they are accepting him as not only a human, but into the special relationship between two Korean friends, the older brother and the younger brother dynamic. In general, even between friends who are a year apart in age, the younger will refer to the older friend as their older brother or older sister. This is why Ali's trust in Sangwoo so much. In normal Korean society, the older person takes care of the younger person. That's why Sangwoo's betrayal was more nefarious. When Ali calls out to him, older brother, before he gets killed, it hits different. Sangwoo not only tricked him, but he broke the cultural norms of the older brother taking care of a younger brother. We also see Sangwoo's break from the cultural norms in the last episode when he lashes out at Ji-hoon for still remaining optimistic. Ji-hoon is older than Sangwoo, and up until this point, Sangwoo called him older brother. I didn't even pick up on that. He then curses at him and calls him other names, demonstrating that he is abandoning everything: his culture, his friendship, his patience, and his humanity, all for money. Ji-hoon, though, as the older brother, still wants to protect and save his friend, not just because they were old friends, but because that is the expectation of what the older brother should do. That's what we should all do. But then in life, we always see that in everything, some people are willing to abandon their morals, their values, their religion for money, you know. But then there are other people who don't change when they get money, okay? These subtle nuances are often lost in translation. It reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in Parasite that was also lost in translation. The scene where the previous housemaid goes downstairs to meet her husband and she's talking to the mom in polite Korean language. She also calls her older sister and uses honorifics to lower her status and beg the mom to help them. Once the rest of the family falls down the stairs and she realizes that they're all parasites like her, now she has a video that she can use to blackmail them. She switches not only her tone, but the language she's using to talk down to the mom. Consequently, the mom, who was once using her perceived status to talk down to the previous maid, switches to honorifics to lower her status and respect them. She even tries to call her older sister, but the previous maid rejects her. In the translation, this kind of power shift through language is lost in translation, and that's exactly what happened in the subs and dubs of Squid Game. Final thoughts on Ali though is that him not knowing even odd and even to me came across more of, I didn't know the meaning of those words in Korean. He had never heard them before. So when he looks at them and says he doesn't understand, it's not showing that he's uneducated, like a lot of people think, but that he is not fully fluent in Korean and therefore relies on Sangwoo to guide him and take care of him. It's hard for Westerners to understand how Korean society is structured and how, in general, people are not individualistic as we are. They rely on community to take care of one another. Yet, when that community fails to take care of them, they must rely on themselves. I hope you liked this perspective, this explanation. I hope it adds more context. I didn't see anything like this on YouTube, so I thought to just make a video based on this comment that I saw. So please enjoy your day, watch different movies, get different perspectives, practice tolerance. I love you, God loves you. Enjoy.